Good evening, you're now with me and for TVS Nightline, and here are the headlines for tonight. Surveying of disputed NCR land will only take place after court cases related to the land are withdrawn. Chinese President Xi Jinping's three-day state visit begins today with a formal welcome ceremony at ISTANA NEGARA. And after years of talks, countries around the world reach a historic agreement to address future pandemics. The contractor appointed for the construction of Wisma Melayu Sarawak has been urged to ensure the iconic project is completed within the set timeline. The reminder came from Sarawak Governor Tun Pehin Sri Dr. Wan Junaidi Tuanku Jaafar in an official Facebook post following a courtesy visit by the Board of Trustees of the Sarawak Melayu Cultural Foundation Charitable Trust, or AKY-BMS, at Astana Negeri on April 15th.
The delegation was led by Deputy Sarawak Premier Dato' Amar Awang Tengah Ali Hassan, who also serves as the chairman of AKY-BMS. During the visit, he presented the current status of the ongoing project located in Petrajaya. Tun Wan Junaidi also expressed his appreciation to all parties involved for their unwavering commitment to the construction of the iconic cultural centre. Launched in November 2022, the Wisma Melayu Sarawak project is expected to be completed ahead of schedule by May 7, 2025, 7 months earlier than originally planned. The building's design, inspired by the traditional Malay headgear known as tengkolok, reflects the identity, heritage and artistic traditions of the Sarawak Malay community. Once completed, Wisma Melayu Sarawak will serve as a comprehensive cultural hub featuring a multi-purpose hall, museum, exhibition gallery, office spaces, a cafe and a mosque. The project is seen as a strategic initiative to enhance and preserve the cultural identity of the Malay community in Sarawak.
Native customary rights NCR land that are under dispute or involved in court proceedings will not be subject to surveying. Sarawak Deputy Premier Dato' Amar Awang Tengah Ali Hassan said surveying will only proceed once related cases have been withdrawn from court.
Bekerjasama bertolak ansur antara satu dengan yang lain. Tak ada perselisihan. Jika ada perselisihan pun, ia dapat diselesaikan dengan cara kita berunding. Dan akhirnya, mudah untuk Jabatan Tanah dan Servis menjalankan kerja-kerja penyukai. Yang akan menerima nikmatnya ialah kita sendiri.
During the land compensation check and Section 18 land title presentation ceremony for Sibu Division today, Awang Tengah emphasized the importance of cooperation between all parties involved before perimeter surveys can begin. He also reminded that any land claims must be supported by legal evidence in accordance with government records. As of February 28, the Sarawak Land and Survey Department has successfully carried out perimeter surveys covering approximately 1.19 million hectares of NCR land across the state, of which over 935,000 hectares have been registered and gazetted under Section 6 of the Land Code as native communal reserves. All District Council members are reminded to carry out their responsibilities with integrity, full commitment and to actively support initiatives that empower the communities under their care. Sarawak Deputy Premier Dato' Amar Dr. Sim Kui Hian stressed that being a council member is no easy task, as it involves planning for local development, shaping policies and implementing strategies to improve overall community well-being.
The council, being the third tier of government, right, they actually has authorities. That's why it's called local authorities. And under local authorities, right, you have this policy, responsibility for forming policy, all the bylaws and so on.
He said this during swearing-in of 32 members of the Lundu District Council (MDL) held at Lundu Town Hall earlier today. Leading the oath-taking ceremony was MDL Chairman Awang Yusuf Awang Mustafa, who pledged to continue serving with full dedication in line with the trust placed in him by the state government. He stressed that the council's primary focus is to drive holistic development in the Lundu district, including infrastructure improvements, enhancing the delivery of public services, and prioritizing the well-being of local communities. The term of appointment for all council members begins on April 1st, 2025 and will end on March 31st, 2028.
Sarawak is set to mark another key milestone in the energy sector, with oil production from Block SK433 Adong Kecil West in Miri expected to start in 2026. This follows successful drilling operations launched on October 11, 2023, which delivered encouraging results and set the stage for further development efforts.
In a statement issued by Petros, the company reaffirmed its commitment to engage all stakeholders, including partners and government agencies, to ensure the project's success. Planned initiatives for the Adong Kecil West area include building access roads, a crude oil transfer terminal, and a gas-fired power plant. Supporting infrastructure will also be put in place to ensure more efficient and strategic management of Sarawak's energy resources. Land data acquisition is scheduled for the second quarter of 2025 using enhanced full tensor gravity gradiometer technology to further explore the hydrocarbon and mineral potential of onshore areas. Petros' broader development plan also covers other onshore blocks in regions such as Oya, Mukah, Balingian, Bintulu, Tatau, Miri, Marudi, Lawas, and Limbang. The initiative is part of ongoing efforts to reduce risks and drive sustainable growth in Sarawak's energy sector.
Chinese President Xi Jinping was formally welcomed with a state ceremony at the ISTANA NEGARA today, marking the beginning of his three-day state visit, extended at the invitation of His Majesty Sultan Ibrahim. The visit commenced with Sultan Ibrahim greeting President Xi at 10:30 a.m. Prime Minister Dato Sri Anwar Ibrahim, along with both Deputy Prime Ministers, Dato Sri Dr. Ahmad Zahid Hamidi and Dato Sri Fadila Yusuf, and the Cabinet Ministers were also present. The welcome ceremony at the ISTANA NEGARA parade ground began with the national anthems of both countries, followed by 21-gun salute by the 41st Battery of the Royal Artillery Regiment. The Chinese president then inspected the main guard of honor involving 4 officers and 103 personnel members of other ranks from the 1st Battalion of the Royal Malay Regiment RAMD of the Sungai Besi camp. Afterwards, Xi was also welcomed with a traditional dance performance by the National Department of Culture and Arts. Sultan Ibrahim later held a meeting with Xi and the other Chinese delegation and attended a souvenir presentation ceremony at Dewan Suri Maharaja. Xi and his delegation were also honored at a state banquet hosted by the king at the main dining hall. This visit marks Xi's second official visit to Malaysia in 12 years, following his last visit in 2013, which elevated the diplomatic ties between the two nations to a comprehensive strategic partnership. Now, the King Sultan Ibrahim expressed confidence that Malaysia and China will continue to strengthen their cooperation despite global geopolitical challenges. In a post on Facebook, Sultan Ibrahim emphasized Malaysia's focus on deeper economic integration, strengthening supply chain and industrial cooperation, improving connectivity and upholding principles of mutual respect and benefit in its engagement with all partners, including China. Sultan Ibrahim also invited the Chinese government to promote language exchange programs between both countries. The King noted that the number of student exchanges between the two nations has increased, with Malaysia aiming to send more students to China to exchange knowledge and culture. After years of negotiations, countries reached an agreement early today on a landmark accord to address future pandemics, aiming to prevent the mistakes made during the COVID-19 crisis. Following over 3 years of discussions and a final marathon session, weary delegates at the World Health Organization's headquarters finalized the deal around 2 a.m. on Wednesday.
Tonight marks a significant milestone in our shared journey toward a safer world. We celebrate the successful conclusion of negotiations on a draft pandemic agreement, completed in just 3.5 years.
5 years after the devastation of COVID-19, a sense of urgency hung over the talks, with new threats lurking, including H5N1 bird flu, measles, mpox, and Ebola. Right until the last minute, disagreement lingered over a few thorny issues. Negotiators stumbled over the agreement's Article 11, which deals with transferring technology for pandemic health products towards developing nations. Countries with large pharmaceutical industries have strenuously opposed the idea of mandatory tech transfers, insisting they must be voluntary. But it appeared the obstacle could be overcome by adding that any transfer needed to be mutually agreed. The core of the agreement is a proposed pathogen access and benefit sharing system aimed at allowing the swift sharing of pathogen data with pharmaceutical companies, enabling them to quickly start working on pandemic fighting products. In the end, the 32-page agreement was entirely highlighted in green, indicating all of it had been fully approved by WHO member states. The finalized text will now be presented for a sign-off at the WHO's annual assembly next month.
Doctors Without Borders (MSF), a medical aid organization, has condemned Israel's military operations and the blockade of humanitarian aid, describing Gaza as having turned into a graveyard for Palestinians and those trying to help them. Israel resumed its bombardment of Palestinian territory in March after a 2-month ceasefire collapse due to disagreements over the next phase of negotiations.
Hundreds of thousands of people have been displaced, with Israel blocking humanitarian aid since March 2nd before the truce disintegrated. The United Nations said medical supplies, fuel, water, and other essentials are in short supply. MSF coordinator Amanda Bazzarole said Gaza has been turned into a mass grave of Palestinians and those coming to their assistance. She added that we are witnessing in real time the destruction and forced displacement of the entire population in Gaza. With nowhere safe for Palestinians or those trying to help them, the humanitarian response is severely struggling under the weight of insecurity and critical supply shortages, leaving people with few, if any, options for accessing care.
Those were the updates on TVS Nightline. I'm Handy Gui. Thank you for watching. Have a good night.